Hello everyone, today we are sharing with you our first ever baking video. We will be making white bread. For this recipe, you will need 5½ to 6 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 package or 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast or quick rise yeast, 2 1/4 cups of buttermilk, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of butter, and 1½ teaspoons of salt. We are also using 2 4x8 inch bread pans, and we will also be using a large saucepan. Now, this is quite large, but we don't want anything spilling or going over, so it's better safe than sorry. Now, before we get started on anything else, we're going to start with our buttermilk. You could just buy buttermilk from the store, but let's be honest, when you buy buttermilk, it just sits around in your fridge, you never use it, and then it goes bad. So what we're going to do here is use a recipe that for every cup of milk you use, it's 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. And because we are using 2 1/4 cups of milk in this recipe, we're just going to do 2 1/2 tablespoons of vinegar. So we'll add that in like that. And you don't have to mix it up, you don't have to do anything. We're just going to leave that for 5-10 minutes and you should see the milk starting to curdle. Now to start with our dough. We are going to take 2 1/2 cups of flour, which is around half of our original amount of flour, and we are going to put that in a large mixing bowl. Keep the rest of the flour on hand for later. Then we are going to add 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast and just mix that up. Don't feel bad about using your hands. It's just a little bit of mixing. And there we go. Okay. Now I have set my saucepan to medium heat and I have all my ingredients that I need lined up. I have the buttermilk, which as you can see has curdled really nicely, the sugar, the butter, salt, and the flour mixture we just made. This does have the yeast. This is not the flour without the yeast. So, to this pot, you are going to add in your milk. Oh yeah, it's really curdled. You are going to add your sugar, the butter, and a few cranks of salt, but not the flour yet. Okay, I have been stirring everything for a few minutes, and everything is looking absolutely terrifying, which is perfect. So, now I'm going to put my thermometer in, and it reads, 130 to 145. We don't want it to be any hotter than that in Fahrenheit, because if we make it too hot, the yeast is going to die. If we make it too cold, the yeast is going to die. So somewhere around 130, Fahrenheit 140, that's perfect. I'm just going to stir this for a tiny bit more, and then I'm going to add in my flour. Okay, I've added my flour, and it looks a bit less terrifying, but still terrifying, so let's stir it up, and yeah. I'm going to stir this until all the flour is not clumped anymore, and then I will come with the next step. Okay, I have been kneading it for around 2 minutes, stirring it for around 2 minutes, and I did have to add an extra 1/4 cup of flour because the next thing we're doing is putting it on the table, lightly floured surface, and kneading in the rest of the flour. So you need to make sure it won't go away from you, but it's starting to get elasticy. Pretty nice, so I'm going to turn that over here, and then we can start kneading. Okay, I have been kneading the dough for a little while now, about 4 to 5 minutes, and it's sort of boring, so I'll show you how to do it. You basically pull the dough back, and then push it forward with your hand, turn it, push it, turn it, fold, push it. It's a lot easier with 2 hands, but I'm holding the camera right now. And then as you're doing that, you sprinkle on a bit of flour, turn it, push it, turn it, push it. You don't have to use all your flour. I only use like 3/4 of it, and it's nice and stretchy. So we're going to leave this in an oiled bowl with, with a cloth towel on top. And we're going to leave that for 45 to 60 minutes or until it's doubled in size. Okay, so my dough is almost done rising. It's been in there for about 45 minutes. But before I do anything else, I'm going to grease my 2 pans. So here I have a little bit of olive oil, and I'm just going to Spread it all over the pan. Don't forget the sides. And this is going to prevent the bread from sticking to the pan. I'm not going to use any parchment paper. You don't need it. Just a nice little oil. Okay, it has been an hour and my dough has finished rising. It's really nice, doubled in size, and we have waited this long. So let's punch it back down. Yeah, we're gonna punch it, get all of the air out. There we go. And then we're gonna leave that for another 10 minutes. Okay, it has been 10 minutes and we are now done with our dough. Sorry, my dad's finishing the basement, so it's quite loud. Okay, so one of our next steps is to cut this ball right in half. There we go. And then we are going to take both of these, put them into loaves, and then put them both into here, where they will rise for another 30 minutes. One side for each pan. There we go. It's in both of our pans, and we're going to cover those and leave them for half an hour. Okay. Our stuff is almost done their final rising, and now we are going to set the oven to 375. Okay, so the dough has been rising for half an hour and our oven is well heated. So, it's time to bake. We're gonna put both of our trays just in like that, and don't worry, they will rise as they are in the oven. There we go, and we're gonna bake those for 35 to 40 minutes. Okay, our bread has finished baking. Let's take it out and see how it looks. Okay, so the way that we can tell that it's done is if you knock on it, it should sound sort of hollow. And I think it is. Let's cut it up and see how it looks. And there we go. That is our bread. You can see it steaming. So we are either going to put jam and peanut butter on this, or we will put some nice butter to go along with our chili tonight. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. You should definitely try this recipe. Bye.